Delighted to say I'm joined by Steven Poacher to talk about the football that's coming up this weekend. No better place to start than Galway and Mayo. Obviously, local rivals. Galway top of the table at the moment. But the thing that has, I would imagine, escaped nobody's attention in the GA world, Stephen, is the fact that Jim McGuinness was doing a training session with Galway last weekend. Pádraig Joyce is, of course, his old running buddy from Tralee IT. Were you surprised when you saw that?
Well, Shane, to tell you the truth, I seen the drill. It obviously caused a bit of hysteria around social media circles. But look, Jim being Jim, I suppose he's been off the radar of GA for a long time now. You know, he ventured into professional soccer, so Jim's obviously reputation as the GA coach is obviously intact because of the success he had with Donegal seniors back in 2011, 2012. Obviously, they sort of had a plateau in 2013, but they were a kick of the ball away from winning the game in 2014. So people were probably sort of looking in from the outside thinking, you know, they associate Jim with a certain style of football, which I think is wrong, because what I picked up from the drill was everyone was talking about the simplicity of the drill. But if you actually read Jim's book and you actually look back on that Donegal team of 2011 to 2014, they did rack up some big scores and they did play some decent football at times. And I think, Shane, people are sort of mistaken, you know, from a coaching perspective, put it like this. From a coaching eye, I could see very clearly the intensity that he was demanding of the drill. You know, and you could see very clearly the intensity. And the reason the ball spilled a couple of times was those lads were probably operating at what was probably above match pace, if that actually makes sense. You know, you're never probably going to be at that level of pace during a game, you know, because of different circumstances and how the game is taking shape. And, you know, you might have another kind of ball, but he demands that sort of real high level of intensity and pace, and I felt that was the abiding thing for me, Shane, coming from it, was that, you know, what he was demanding out of them. And I remember going back to Kevin Cassidy when he was put off the panel in 2012. He had done that little part of the book with Declan Bogan at the time. I don't know if you remember that, but Cassidy talked about himself and the two McGees landing back when we door after training in 2011, and one of the things he said was, he says, like, we used to just sit in the couch or sit in the sofa when we landed home, and we would have the remote control in our hands, and we would just be literally ready to turn the TV on, and you would fall asleep with the remote control in your hands because McGuinness had worked you that hard at training, you know. And he likes to take players really out of their comfort zone, Shane, in training, and, you know, really stretch the boundaries with them. And I suppose it's a fantastic mentality to have. And you sort of wonder to yourself, like, if Pádraig Joyce or whoever's involved in Galway at the minute had ran that same drill, you know, would it have the same impact, or would they have the same intensity from the players? But it's because McGuinness is coming in, he's a different face, he's a fresh face, he's a well-known face, you know, and he's obviously someone who still commands huge respect in the game, because I actually enjoy seeing, listening to him when he had his stint on Sky Sports as an analysis. I thought his analysis of the game was absolutely top class, you know, and you can see very clearly that he's got a huge analytical brain. Anyone who can transfer from coaching at the highest level, if you like, to the highest level of soccer. He's been involved in professional golf, you know, he's been involved in a number of different sports, and I just think he's a fantastic person, and it would do Galway no harm to have him around, there's no question about it.
Yeah, because through my links in Louth Gaelic football, I've been kind of made aware that he was involved in Naomh Martin's winning their first ever Louth senior football title this year. Now, he was involved for, give or take, the last 6 weeks, and, you know, he'd do a training session a week, and just what you said there about the intensity of those drills is the reason that they broke down the speed, that it was all simplicity. But I mean, for you to kick on to that next level, it's all about learning to do the basic things but at a very high speed, because most of the time when you're out in the field in a match situation, that's all it is. It's trying to do basic things and do them right. But he would have been involved for about 6 weeks, and, you know, I heard of situations where he was shown, given 3 videos of maybe the opposition, and that he spent 8 hours putting together analysis on it and put together a package that he presented, you know, over the space of an hour to the panel. And this is a Naomh Martin's team that had lost the county final to Newtown Blues 2 years in a row and had blown up early on in the early stages of the final in 2019. Now, maybe he isn't the only reason that they went that extra step this year, but it's probably no coincidence either, because he obviously has this sort of pedigree. And another thing is, he wouldn't have been there at the final and probably the other games either, but he was watching the game live. There was a stream of it. Loud GA had their stream up, and he was in an earpiece actually giving his thoughts to the management on the sideline during the game. So he certainly made his impact in Louth.
Yeah, well, funny you mentioned Naomh Martin there in Louth. I did a wee coaching clinic with him about 5 years ago, I would know Tom Rooney very well of Louth, so I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that as well, then, Shane, because I was there 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
No,
but listen, it goes to show you the level of detail the guy is, and if you actually read his book, I thought his book was fascinating, and I particularly enjoyed the chapter about, he got plenty of stick when he went back to university at the time, Shane, and he was like, the laughing joke was Jim McGuinness is 31 and he's still at college or whatever, but he talked about it, and I said this to the youngsters in school, like, he talked about how education empowers people, adding another string to your bow, and I just think he's a fascinating character, and someone I would really enjoy sitting down with over a cup of coffee and chatting all things coaching. There's no question about it.